Hey there everyone, and welcome back to episode 3 of our Let's Play series for Command Ops 2. Okay, so up to day 2 at 8:26 AM on this scenario, and this is actually about the point that I got to in the last playthrough that I had off camera. And got about a day through into the game, and the Allies being a lot more aggressive this time around, so a lot more sort of attacks coming through into Hossingen in through here. Which is not really a problem for me. I'm not really too concerned about it because they are sort of cut off now. There's not really any easy way for them to get out, especially once we start moving these two battalions down towards the bridge down here, towards the objective. They're going to be really cut off and they're going to have not anywhere to go. So I'm not too bothered by any of that. This is a little bit more of a problem here. This unit's doing quite well up here. I just noticed actually there's an engineer unit up here, which is Engineer Company. I'm not sure if they're reinforcements. Not quite sure whether they'd be that far up. Anyway, we'll look at that in a minute. Yes, this battalion's sort of bunkered down here for the moment, which is fine. They took a reasonable number of casualties, around about 10% or so. But they're there now and they're sort of dug in and they've got this objective secured, which is good. So they'll probably stay there until the objective expires at 6 PM tonight. But these units up here, so as we mentioned, we had lost in the last episode, which I'm still fuming about, the 4 Panther tanks. We lost 4 Panther tanks out of this company here, which is frustrating because it was a night attack, so probably my fault there, but that's okay. So we're starting to bring across the 2nd Panzer Division, which is going to be good. So we're starting to bring these guys across here, which will be fine. I think once we bring a couple of regiments or battalions across, this is a regiment here. So we've got one regiment here with KG Gutmann, and then another one here, KG Kuschenhausen, which we're going to bring across. I think once we've brought both of those across, that's be a pretty decent sized force. And I think once we've got those, we'll actually start pushing for the objective here. I think we'll leave KG Holtmeier here, which is probably the biggest force in the 2nd Panzer Division. We'll leave those and we'll bring them across, set them up here somewhere once we've cleared it out. And once we've secured the objective, we'll use those as the force to push through to the highway up here. Probably up to this ridge up here will be their objective. So I think they're going to probably get them to follow this road up through the hills and then get them to place up here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use, I think, probably these 2 infantry battalions, see if that's going to be enough to take the objective. If not, we may have to use this force, the KG von F force, to get some armoured support and stuff there and actually use them to take the objective. Once that's done, I think we'll leave these infantry battalions here just to sort of secure the area and fight off these little attacks, which are more annoying than anything else. And then we'll use the bulk of the Panzer Lehr Division, the 901st Regiment and the 902nd, and they're going to be the ones that we actually use to push through to the highway from this objective. So we'll probably send one up through here, and then maybe one sort of maybe around this way. See if we can sort of clear all of this area from here to the highway. Because as we mentioned before, once we hit the highway, I think it's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be a lot easier, quicker to actually get down to Bastogne. I've sort of want around 2.5, 3 days time to actually get to actually sort of be here and actually have enough time to actually take Bastogne and actually push through. Because I'm expecting some Allied reinforcements to come through in the next couple of days. So we'll see how that goes. First thing we're actually going to do though is where is it? I'm looking for a little unit here somewhere. Here we are. KG Kunkel. This is a sort of, we actually got them set up to come here. I'm actually going to change that. I sort of thought about it off camera a bit. This is basically more of a reconnaissance unit. So if you look at some of their force composition, this is sort of a bicycle unit. So we actually see that here, 132 bicycles. What else have they got? They've got a medium mortar platoon, some artillery units there attached, which are quite good for them. And a couple of other more bicycle units here as well. So I think we're going to use them as our screening force. And we're going to try and set them up eventually up on this ridge up here. So I think that's what we're going to do there. So what we're going to do today, now that it's daylight, these 2 battalions are fairly rested now, which is good. We're going to change KG Kunkel's orders. So we're going to delete that one. Just press the delete button. We're going to put a move order and actually get them to plop down in this village right here. It doesn't really matter about the face or anything like that. I'm just going to put minimum rest. So you can actually say put on fastest speed, but actually say avoidance. And actually say bypass here. So basically what those settings mean, that the avoidance route means that they're going to avoid sort of any known Allied formations. So I think what they're probably going to end up coming up this way, I suspect. This unit may cause a problem here, so we'll see how that goes. We're actually going for bypass. So basically that what it means, if they come up against any resistance, they're going to try and actually look to bypass that resistance and go around it, rather than actually attacking it or being halted or anything. So you use that sort of command when you want sort of units to keep moving, pushing through, and avoiding strong points and things like that. So Basically, I want to get them down to this objective as quick as possible, because the sooner we do that, the sooner we can move out both of these battalions and move them over to these these little towns over here, over to Wilts. Once that's done, then we're gonna have more of an opportunity to clear up to these heights up here, which are gonna be very, very important, I think. Rightio. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna choose the less fatigue. So this battalion here, the 1st battalion, we're gonna use these guys. These ones are still fairly fatigued at 55%. So I'm actually gonna use these guys. Put them onto a rest command here, so just put them onto rest order here. So they should basically stay in place there. And we're just going to let them rest for probably half a day, and we're going to push out the 1st battalion here. So what we're going to do is just use a move order. I'm not really bothered by which route they take. I'd maybe prefer them to come through the back way here. But all we're going to do is actually just set them up here, sort of right in the center of the town. Probably there's a good spot to have. So I think the 2 objectives are sort of, there's one either side of the river, so we jump into here. We've got one at Wilts here, so that's behind there, and then Whitingen. Whitingen is this other side here, so I'll put them right in the middle here, and we'll sort the rest of it out later. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave it up to them pretty much. I think I'm actually going to go for avoidance again. I think safest is generally the slowest one, but I don't really want that. I'm sort of going to mix. I don't want to put them on fastest because they get worn out way too quickly. They do have a fair distance to cover, especially for rough terrain, and they are infantry, so they've got to walk the whole way. So I think we're going to put on avoidance, but we'll see how that go. May even change it to quickest. I think we'll leave everything else. Maybe put aggro onto minimum, just so they don't sort of engage units a long way away. And minimum rest, and I think everything else is going to be fine there. So we'll leave that, we'll get that done. KG Kugel is coming down to here, which is fine. Once they're there, these guys should be a little bit more rested, and we'll push them out as well. They shouldn't be too far away behind this battalion. Alrighty, so the Panzerleer's moving out. I think we've moved these ones out. The 901st moving here, and the 902nd is pushing across the river, which is good. We're just going to leave these battalions here, this regiment, the 78th Regiment, Grenadier Regiment there. May even actually reattach. Actually, it's already have done that, actually. Reattach that unit. What's this one here? This is the 77th Grenadier Regiment. So they're not attached yet. They're attached to this one here. So what we may actually do with the 77th, actually may push them across, move them just down here as well. May go for quickest, I think, and we'll just go for min aggro and see how that goes. So we'll push them across, and I think we'll probably actually start forming up some regiments rather than going on battalions the whole time, and just see how that ends up. Oh yeah, so we've got this battalion here, the 77th. They're actually still going to move down here. They're quite fatigued, which is a problem. This one's not though, 1st battalion is not, so I think they're going to be the main force we use to push down, start pushing down towards this objective. I think we are going to need the KG Von F force, so which is going to be the best way to go. So there's not really any easy road access, which is a bit unfortunate. We could get them to come down this way and then come up through the river. Or we can either push them across this way and then get them to come down from the heights from there. That could be the better way to go, actually, although I would suspect there's probably going to be some allied units in this area. Given that there's a bunch here, I suspect there'll probably be some here as well. I don't know that, that's just a guess, by the way. And yeah, so we'll see, but I think that's what's best to do. Because obviously, as you can see, there's not really any great firing lines that we've got. There's no sort of really obvious place that we can park them and actually get overview access to this area, or line of sight access, I should say, because there's not really any great heights. Maybe in this area, we'll just have a quick look. So we jump into the tools, line of sight, anywhere in this area. No, not quite. Yes, there's not really anywhere that we can really get a really good clear line of sight on this this objective. Up here is too far away, down here is too far away. Even in the forest here is going to be not really good enough. There is sort of some here, but they're really quite close in there again, so I don't really want to put motorized forces or armored forces in there. So maybe what we actually should try and do is actually come around from the back. We're actually going to give that a crack, I think. So what we're going to do is, where's the tools? There we are. So we just dismiss that. Get rid of that. Alright, so what I think we're going to do, I think we're going to start pushing this battalion down the hill to probably along this ridge. Once they sort of get here and clear this area, then we'll push them straight down here into this, into the bridge. So what we'll do, we'll put in just a straight attack order into the forest. Probably there is about fine. So we'll get them to do that. We'll go max aggro. Yep, I'll probably leave rate of fire at normal, and we'll go. I think we'll go for actually for a. I think most of the units are going to be on this side, so we'll go for a left echelon because we want them the most fired coming out on the left over here because they're advancing this way, so we want them out on the left. So we're going to go for a left echelon and just move this across like that. I don't think there's going to be many units over this way, like, you know, close enough, so I think most of them are going to be out this way, so we'll do that. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to leave the KG Von F. Actually, maybe move these guys just down here a little bit. Actually, maybe just face them over this way. Get a little bit more support for these units, any units in this area. And we'll do that. And we're going to max aggro for them so they engage units a long way away. And then once this area is cleared, once this sort of road is cleared, I suspect this area through here is going to be fairly open. Because there's not really any objectives here. I mean, there's a bridge here that maybe could be important. There's a light road bridge there and there that we can cross the river. So I think what we're going to do, so we're going to push the battalion, the infantry battalion down here. Once that's clear, we'll get the mechanized force to come down this road through the forest, cross the river, and actually come up and get them to sit on the reverse slope, or the slope I should say, of this this hill here. So if they sit on this slope here in this sort of bottom part, they get a perfect view down here of any units coming in there. Which is going to work out well anyway, because we actually want to take these heights here. I think these heights here are going to be quite important. Right, yeah, so there we go. I think all these other forces here are fairly okay. We've got a defense order here, so these guys should sort of spread out and probably hopefully push off these units in the forest here. These ones are fine. Everyone else is moving. All right, I've talked for long enough, 11.5 minutes. So we'll get the game running. Excuse me. So I suspect there is two battalions. There's two battalions in strength. I reckon there's one from the look of it. There's the 3rd Battalion, which is an infantry regiment here. You can see the HQ there, and there's a company of it there. And then I think there's an armoured battalion is here. You actually see the 707 tank battalion. There's 2 units we can see from there, the 3rd platoon and the 2nd platoon. This engineer platoon is probably part of one of these two. So I think there's 2 battalions in this area. I'm not really too worried about that because I think they're quite fragmented. They're not full battalions. So I'm fairly happy with all of that. I'm fairly okay just to leave things as they are at the moment. We can keep using our fire support probably on these infantry units here. So we'll start using these. We are fairly low on supply on artillery, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. If we jump into the supply screen here, this is a sort of a broad overview of the overall supply levels that you actually get. So supply comes in off map. Where is it here? So this, you actually see this little icon here. Just move this one. This little icon here. This is our supply entry point, where the supplies come in off map. So you can't move that. That's just an automatic thing for the scenario. You actually see here on the first day we get 40% supplies. And then there from each day, it actually drops each day. So you actually get less supplies each day, which obviously means that each day we're going to get less artillery ammo. So the further the scenario gets through, the less artillery we're going to have to play with. So we've got a lot of it now, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that and make sure we don't waste it. But I think it's still worth clearing this area out, because the longer this is all blocked up, the longer that all the Panzer Lehr division actually gets sort of can't actually get through and actually start pushing through. Like I mentioned, at the end of this day, I actually want to be over the river and actually sort of formed a bridgehead on this side of the river. Because then on the 3rd day we can come up here to the highway, and it's going to give us another 2 or 3 days to get to Bastogne. Alrighty, so we start using our artillery on this area. Start putting down some fire missions in this area. We're just 3 for the moment. Be enough. I don't think it's really worth hitting the tanks. I think these units are starting to get pushed back, so I'm not too bothered by these because we've got the long range guns have line of sight, and they can actually sort of fire from a long way away, which is good. Still annoyed about those tanks. Anyway, I'll get over it. And this battalion's fine here. Alright, cool. Get the game running. Turn off these little routine messages as well. Unfortunately, you can't turn it when you turn this off. It doesn't actually turn off the sounds. You still get the sounds all the time, but that's okay. See, there we are. So that's actually infantry company is routed, so they've taken a lot of casualties. There's only hardly any of them left, actually. There's only 9 personnel, so from a full company, or it was a platoon now, I think it was a company before, they've taken a lot of casualties. And there we go, there's the HQ. So these guys, this attack isn't going to last a whole lot longer, which is good. So that is good. See all these units starting to move out, which is good, and then the 2nd division starting to move out quite well as well. The Panther Company, or the Panzer Company, is retreating, but they haven't taken any more casualties, so I'm not too bothered by that. See some of these units are starting to retreat there as well. Starting to get some direct fire support here from some of these attached units as well, which is good. You see these units starting to spread out and form a defensive perimeter, so that's going to be fine. So we actually control the heights now. Even though there is a little bit of heights here, but we control the majority of the heights. The ridge line up here, so we're going to get good visibility. Yeah, so I'm not sure what was with this engineer company up here. We'll have to keep an eye on that, make sure we don't get sort of attacked down this highway too much. See some units coming in here and there. I'm not too bothered by any of it at the moment. You're resting. Why are you resting? Oh no, you're the one oh, that's right. You're the one we sent to move out. Alright, that's cool. So you see some of these companies starting to move out. So you see one here starting to move out along the road, which is awesome. So they're in road fort column here. This big long thing one. It's actually road column, which is the quickest and most efficient way for them to move. So it's like uses generates the least amount of fatigue out of all the formations. But obviously it's a rubbish combat formation. So that's okay. Cool. So it's pushed some of these units back into the forest. Actually, there's a fair few units in here, which is a bit surprising. Sort of stuck in the forest though. So I'm actually start hitting them, given they're in the forest. As we discussed last episode, infantry units in forested areas actually generate or take higher rate of casualties from artillery. So we'll make the most of that and start hitting them. Some of our infantry units still taking casualties, which is a problem, but anyway. Don't think it's going to be too much of a problem there. I'm fairly okay with that. Seeing some infantry, some companies here. Not really quite sure exactly what they are. Looks like a couple of infantry and artillery. We'll keep an eye on those and where they're going. 6th Battalion moving out, which is good. Where are we? KG Kunkel. So you can actually see the route they've taken. So we've got them on the, I think, did we have them on the avoidance? We did, on the avoidance route. So this is the route they've taken. And that's interesting to actually see, because there was an infantry and an enemy company here. So they've actually chosen to actually avoid this area and actually come down the highway and actually follow the track through. So it is really quite cool that if they did sort of meet some resistance, especially given that we've got the bypass setting on there, they'd actually sort of go around and actually change their route and actually avoid that area rather than actually being in combat. Because that is obviously a tactic that the enemy uses, and like in a lot of defensive missions you actually have to delay the enemy, and so that's what you actually want to do. You actually want to block them in certain areas to actually force them to get out of road formations into combat formations to attack the blocking force, and then once you withdraw, then they've actually got to get back in formation and then get moving again. So it can be really time consuming for the enemy to do that. Bunch of units through here. I may actually start hitting them with a little bit of artillery, although we don't have a whole lot left. So I'm a little bit wary about using too much, given it's so early in the morning, but we'll hit some of them here. So I think it's going to be really worth trying to deal the maximum amount of casualties at the moment that we can. And then I think it's going to be better off for us later on. So what we're going to do, now that KG Kochenhausen has primarily moved most of its force across, we're actually going to set you guys up on this ridge line up here. There could be a couple of units up here. I'm not too bothered by that. I think they'll be able to deal with whatever they come across. Well, there was an AT platoon here. So what I'm actually doing, go max aggro so they'll engage at a longer distance. And everything else should be fine. So we'll leave that. We may put it on quickest. Just make sure they get there. So what's going to happen, once they're set up there, we may even bring through another battalion just to hold this area here. Then we're going to see in these two regiments, KG Gutmann and Kochenhausen, down to take this bridge here. So it's already 10:30, so we're going to get that done fairly quickly. So we're going to get these guys moving. We actually put them onto the fastest. They've hardly got any fatigue. So put them onto fastest, make sure they get up here ASAP. Taking some artillery fire here, which is a pain, but that's life. These units still coming in here. So this is the 77th Grenadier Regiment HQ, so I haven't probably chosen the best way to come up, but that was potentially my fault. Because we went for quickest, so that probably wasn't smart for me. I probably should have gone for avoidance to make sure they come around this way. There we go, lesson learned. That's okay, I think they should be okay. I'm actually tempted to actually push a battalion out. Push a battalion out this way. I think we're going to do that. I think just make sure that we clear this area. What we're going to do, we're going to do maximum aggressiveness, maximum rate of fire. Just make sure they move really quickly. And we'll go artillery direct support only and make sure that any attached artillery to this battalion only supports this attack. And I think everything else should be fine. I think we actually go for, given we think there's only going to be attacks right in front of us, I think we're actually going to go for line formation, or maybe even V formation. I think V, from memory, is the formation with the best frontal attack. I may actually do that. We'll set that up, see how that goes. So we'll push the battalion out, try and clear this area. Still a little bit worried about these ones here. There's a bunch of units here. I'm actually going to, given they're bunched up, we're going to hit them again with some artillery. It's the most effective way of dealing some damage. Alrighty, there we go. It's a fair bit of artillery hit there. This battalion should, or regiment should start moving out fairly soon. They're fine there. And we'll keep going here. Let's take some casualties with this battalion. I'm not too worried yet though. These guys are all set up here, which is fine. Some attacks here and there. I haven't encountered any enemy on this route, which is actually really quite good. See, KG Kunkel is coming through. They're not going to be too far away, I don't think. I don't think they're probably going to run into anything. Maybe a unit here. But I suspect this one that was here is going to move up here somewhere. Maybe even to the forest. Taking some casualties in this area, so actually use some artillery again. Just to dislodge these units here because they're causing a few problems. I'm actually surprised we haven't hit anything yet. I would have thought we'd probably have some units in this area somewhere, but not yet. We may get some up here. Let's see how that goes. Alrighty, I think we're actually almost ready to actually move these guys out because they've all been resting, so their fatigue is now down to 30% overall. KG Kunkel should be there fairly quickly. So what we're going to do, actually move these guys out now as well. We'll use guys here over this objective. See, the objective is actually now both active. That's because their start time is now coming to effect. Same with the Bastogne one. You see, the Bastogne was actually coming to effect. So we can do that. So, oops, there we go. So we can move these guys out here. What settings did we give this formation? We went to avoidance. All right, that works. We'll do the same thing. Make sure they take the same route. So we go for avoidance and min aggro, minimum rest, and there we go. So this battalion should take the same route as these guys. I think we'll probably leave one battalion here, and then we'll leave one to rest for a little while. Then we'll start pushing one up through the hills up this way. Actually, we're probably going to take up this way, probably come along the track, and then we'll push through this road up this forest here, because this is a full road. Because this would be a really good route for our KG Kunkel to actually end up taking. Because actually follow this road up, it's going to be the quickest way for them to actually get up to here. So we'll use a battalion to push through and clear this area, then we'll set up our KG Kunkel force on that little ridge there. Alrighty, how's everything else going? Still taking some artillery fire here, which is a pain. So I'm going to clear out these units here, because this one in particular is being an absolute pain. So a bunch of artillery fire there. The battalion here is fine, they're moving up fairly quickly. This battalion is starting to move out, which is good. So I reckon that should be enough to probably push these guys off. Even though they're armoured formations, I think that should hopefully be enough. We do actually have a... so we don't really have a whole lot of anti-armour. We've only got a couple of infantry guns, which only have like a very small anti-armour range. But if we get our if we get our infantry units in close enough, they should be able to hit these armoured units. So this one's only got one tank left anyway, and this one's had one as well. So they're pretty much fought out. So I'm not too worried about any of this. So they're actually in range of our two, or one of our infantry units with their anti-tank weapons. So this one's not going to last either, so that's good. So we should be able to clear this area out fairly quickly. Rightio, KG Kochenhausen is going to be up here fairly soon, so we should be in place to be able to tack down to this objective, probably by around 2:30, maybe 3, so we should be able to hopefully take this objective by nightfall and push across the river. See how that goes. Even if it is a little bit later, this objective expires at 6, so we'll make sure that we can actually maybe use this battalion as an extra attack to actually get down here. Could even bring them across the river and then actually use them to come down here. There's a bit of a flanking attack, see how that goes. So some units here and here, like I said, I'm not too worried about any of these. They're all really quite small units now. They've only got one tank in each platoon, which is really quite small for these ones. So even if we take some casualties, I think we're going to be able to destroy these platoons, which is good. Alrighty, I think we're going to keep moving these formations forward. We're going to keep moving these guys forward. So we're going to move them second. I'm going to set them up over here. And that could actually we'll actually put them onto attacks for their movement. They may even end up clearing this area out. So we'll put them onto this formation. We'll reduce the frontage because I don't want them to be quite that big. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. So we'll do this. We'll put them on max aggressiveness, normal here. And I reckon they'll end up clearing out this area, which should probably work out well for me. I think we'll leave the Panzer Division probably here. But we're going to bring the 901st across as well. You set you guys up here on this ridge line. And we'll get you, where's the mouse, there it is, face it this way. And we'll reduce your frontage there as well. Probably put attacks on for you as well, max aggro, normal movement, which is fine, and everything else. So that should bring the bulk of our forces across here. We have to start looking at moving some of our artillery up as well. Second Panzer, we're going to move you across. No, we'll leave you there for the moment. What we're actually going to do, we're going to bring KG Holtmeyer, which is the other last big formation of the 2nd Panzer. You set you guys up down here. Make sure we start getting all our units across ASAP. Max aggro and attacks. Some people sort of could consider this a bit of a waste, but given that we're not really ready for them to actually keep pushing forward yet, I'm actually happy to leave these attacks and stuff on because it means they could end up clearing out some area for us. So we'll just put them onto this area there. That should be fine. Cool, cool. Right, so we're getting the bulk of our forces across now, which is good. Start looking at our artillery in a minute. Taking some casualties here with these 2 platoons, but I'm not companies, but I'm not worried about those. They should be fine. They still should have some. Yes, they've still got enough anti-tank ammunition and weapons, which is good. So they should be able to deal with these units. Just fine, fine, fine. Cool, cool. Alrighty, I think we're pretty much ready to actually move through this force. A couple of forces here from this battalion. So these 2 units here from this battalion should shield this unit from causing any problems to our movement. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to put a movement through. I'm going to put waypoints on this road though to make sure they follow this road. And then we're going to go here. And then we're going to take up this track and then set them up here. We have them set them up facing this way. Which does leave our rear potentially vulnerable, so maybe we can put them onto all-round defense just to make sure they do cover all bases. Yes, that's probably going to be fine. Probably set them up there, which means they should have some units on this area. Rightio, so minimum rest. Actually put them onto bypass, I think. Make sure they get around units. We want them to be fast. Some use their fast because they don't low on fatigue and they are mechanized, so they should be able to move fairly quickly. I think quickest. I think we'll just leave it unspecified. We're actually going to go min aggro for the moment, and we'll change that once they get there. I don't want them to be bogged down by attacking units and stuff that they come across. So we'll see how that goes. So this battalion's moving. KG Kungl should be there quite quickly. We may lose the objective for a few minutes, but it shouldn't be very long. These ones should get through there fairly quickly. You see they should be there in a couple of minutes. So we're not going to lose it for very long, which is good. Alright, so they're seeing some units here. So this unit's already retreated. So I'm going to keep an eye on this attack. I think a battalion attack should be enough. You can change this to normal aggro now. Now that they're pretty much there, I'm going to leave it onto that. Alright, see a unit here. So this is a base brigade. So this is a brigade base. So I'm just going to hit them. Oops, there we go. Hit them with some artillery. Just a couple of units. Because bases, it's out of range. Damn. Alright, so we're already coming across some range problems there. So this one's out of ammo, which is a pain. This one's out of ammo. Alright, so we're going to start moving our artillery forward. Coming to problems now. Actually, most of our artillery, apart from a few, actually can't reach here. Which is a problem. Alright, I think just 2 is probably enough. I don't want to use too much of our artillery ammo. That's okay. Alright, so there was a tank destroyer platoon here. They've only got 1 gun left though, so I'm not too worried about that. Rightio, so it's 1. I think what we're going to do... you don't have a whole lot now, you've got no units attached to you directly. Oh, yes you do. Got a few units attached, so mainly artillery though. Do have some engineers and stuff though. And divisional escort, I think, somewhere. You got a halt mile around you, right, that's cool. Cool. You're retreating, yeah, it's okay, I'm not too bothered by that. Well, yeah, this one's starting to move out fairly quickly, which is good, so they should get there fairly soon. Which is good. See a unit there already, so we'll keep an eye on that. Once these KG von F force has passed this battalion, we're actually going to start pushing them down towards the objective and hit them from two sides. These units shouldn't cause any too much problem. This one's very persistent, isn't it? Hasn't budged at all. There's a platoon there, I'm not bothered by that. These two units are engaging it. Which is fine. Alright, so we've got reclaimed the objective, which is good. KG Kunkel. Take a unit retreating here. I'm not quite sure where from. Can't see any units in this area. Could be artillery. It's actually a very large formation, 468, so I'm actually start hitting this with a bunch of artillery, though again, we don't have a whole lot that can actually reach it. Can you? No. Alright, so which ones can? You can, so hit you. Should increase the duration just to 16 minutes. Should be a bit longer bombardment for these ones. And this one. Cool, there we go. I'm going to turn on attacks for this one, just to allow them to form an attack to actually take this, to actually attack this base here. Scheduled airstrike has been aborted due to poor visibility. Another company here, so they're moving down into the town, so keep an eye on that. So if it looks like this battalion can't take the town, I'm actually sort of wait until this one actually comes in. I'm actually going to put on, change their aggressiveness back to normal and put the attacks on for them as well. So I think two battalions should be more than enough to take it, but we'll keep an eye on that. Rightio, KG Kunkel is here, so they'll stay here until 6. They'll get a bit of rest, and then what I think we'll do is we'll start pushing them up through here. I'll start moving towards here so we can get here sometime during the next day. Alrighty, KG von F is moving down the track, which is good. They should get there fairly quickly. This battalion is fairly okay. Starting to move some of these units forward, which is good. And these guys are taking up position on this ridge, which is nice. These two forces are all good here. Alright, is there anything we can move across? Thinking there was a battalion here, the 1st Battalion, Infantry Battalion. We're actually going to move these guys up here, command these guys separately. We're actually going to put them here, and I think actually may even get them to attack down into this forest. May not be quite big enough to actually do that, but we'll see how we go. But we're just going to set them up here. No, we actually set them up in a defend formation, defend order. So set up a defend one here facing this way. And set them up back a bit here. There we go. That should be a good area there. Cool, cool. Rightio. Max aggro, so they'll engage, and we'll probably leave everything else as just normal. We may go for fastest and quickest for them, just make sure they get up here quickly. Because what we're going to do, it's 2:30 already, so I think we're going to start moving out down here towards the objective, and I don't want to lose this little ridge line here. Still got the 10 Panthers here, which is pleasing to see. There's a couple of tanks here, some N5, some light tanks here, just some Stuart tanks. I'm not too worried about those. It should be fine. So I think we're going to start getting these two regiments into the attack down here. So look at the delay. It's going to be 53 minutes for KG Gutmann and 52 for Koshenhausen, so that's fine. How's our overall command going? So we're up to 27, so still got another, 9 left, which is fine. Which is all good, so alright, yeah, so that's good, so starting to move forward. Okay, so time to move our artillery forward. As we saw, most of them are out of range. I think we're going to move everyone forward. So where's a good spot? I think he may be down here somewhere would actually be quite a decent area, though that means maybe they won't be able to reach up here, so maybe we'll just set them up down here. Maybe here would be a good area. Alright, we're going to set them up here, I think. Set them up here. We're just going to go min rest, and I think just fastest, quickest. They got no fatigue. I want to get them there ASAP, so they're back online. And we're just going to set them up all here. Fastest, quickest, and same with you. And you. And we'll set you up just down here. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't really matter what terrain they're sitting on, like in terms of their range or anything like that. I'll actually set you up over here, which is a little bit more protected. There's some units in this area, so I don't want to set them up over here. So fastest, quickest. You're a decent range actually. Maybe put you onto fire support as well. Quickest. What else have we got? You there. These ones unfortunately are all static, although you're not, you know, you're not. Alright, so that's cool. So you move you forward to here. And yep, you're moving you here, we want you to move forward to here. And that should be everyone. Yep, I think that's everyone. Good, good. Cool, yep, so as I mentioned earlier in the episode, these ones are, earlier in the series, these ones are static. They do have a fairly long range. It's going to be pretty much only Bastogne that they can't reach. So unfortunately we can't move these guys, but they should still be fairly useful until then. But yeah, all of our artillery should start moving forward, which would be good. They should, then we should have artillery range up until the highway then. So these units still moving forward. So you start using some of our big guns. Oh, these guys are still moving, right? So where are we? Where's our big range ones? There, alright, cool. Start hitting this area here. There we go. Just because it's holding up this attack, this little field artillery company is holding up the attack. Interesting. So this is the what 8th Corps HQ. Yeah. So that's quite interesting. Though actually they've brought that up a long way, which is really quite surprising. I would have thought they wouldn't have been as aggressive as that. So that's interesting. All right. So we're getting this infantry battalion moving forward. They're moving forward quite quickly, which is pleasing. And that will be good. Yep. Holtman's moving, or Holtmar, I should say, is moving forward. Once this battalion's a little bit closer, we're going to start moving these units out. I don't want to wait too long. It's 3 o'clock already. It's going to take an hour for them to start moving, so that's going to be 4. Alright, we're going to start moving now. I think we have to. Okay, so we're going to set up a... So they can move through this way. I think what we're going to do is set up one attack from here, because they can actually cross this bridge. We're going to set you guys up just here. There, yeah, so it's limited to the road. Set you guys up here and go secure crossing, so they can secure the bridges. Although they're actually not primed for detonation, so they don't really need that, but that's okay. Artillery direct support only, yes. We need a max aggro, max rate of fire. Leave the formation up to the discretion of the leader. And we're going to set up KG equipment as well. I think we're going to move you guys here, although they may be a little bit more delayed, given that they're going to be probably getting some, some fire from here. Secure crossing, artillery direct support, max aggro. See, if I do that, it means they may attack some of these units, but I think it's really worth it. I'm actually put them onto fastest as well. I think they're going to take a bit longer to get ready than KG Kochenhausen. Kochenhausen? Is it Kochenhausen? Yep. So I think we put them onto fastest movement to make sure once they do sort of get out of here, they do move a little bit quicker. Keep an eye on that though. We may need to coordinate their movement a little bit better. But this unit's moving up fairly quickly, so that should be fine. Alright, come on guys, move. You're on fastest, yep, so that should be fine. Yep, right, so they're moving, it's just a little bit slow. See the 901st, because we've set them up in this big area. They're actually seeing some units around here, which is really quite good, because they clear out this area from any units. I already see one unit's been destroyed here. The infantry platoon that we come up against, and this is another one. So the 110th Infantry Regiment is going to be pretty much destroyed, I think, by the time things are done. There's another battalion here. I reckon that's the armoured battalion. You see our units are pretty well set up here, so I'm not too bothered by any of that. Cool. Rightio, so moving fairly well, which is good. Got a infantry regiment there. So the Panzerleer is across. The 901st is starting to move across. Who are you attached to? You're attached to the 26th. So what we're going to do is actually going to move the 26th along with a few attached units. Set you guys up in this village. We know there's no one there. I'm going to go fastest, quickest. Because it doesn't really matter if they get a bit fatigued. We're just going to set them up in this village. Cool, cool. That should be done and get all these units moved forward. Actually going to take control of you as well and move you forward and move you into our fire support group. Fastest, quickest. There we go. Alright, cool. So how's our command going? 28. Alright, so we've still got, what's 8 left. Which is good. Yeah, so there's a bunch of units here. There's some still moving forward, so that's really good for us. So pretty much the two battalions are caught up to each other, which is good. So they should get 2 battalions coming into here. May even need to switch these over to a full attack. Although it looks like maybe they're forming their own attacks. We'll keep an eye on that. Seeing some artillery, some of their own artillery support. So most of these guys are moving now, so we can't use those. But now we can actually see which ones we can use. Actually, which are you? Why are you not moving? Oh, you are moving. Cool. Alright, on call, taking cover. You're set up there already. Oh, cool. There's still not quite enough range there for you, is there? Alright, yeah, we're going to give these guys a little bit more support. So we're going to put some bombard missions here. And here. And do you reach? You do. And just there as well. There we go. Just make things a little bit easier for them. It doesn't look like there's a full battalion here. I think there's probably just going to be a few sort of separate units. So I think we're going to be okay. It's just going to take a little bit of time. It's good to do this now rather than before we send KG Concours through. So we don't want them to be held up. And they're a little bit more vulnerable than an infantry battalion. Okay, so these guys are pretty much almost through the forest now, which is good. Just going to wait for a little minute longer, and then we'll set up the attack order for this battalion to move down. But we're going to leave these guys here for the moment. They still are very fatigued. So if we look at all these guys, I suppose most of them actually aren't. It's just the HQ unit. Well, they are resting now though, so that's good. But we're going to leave these guys until maybe nightfall, and then during the night we'll move these guys down and set them up here. Once we've hopefully taken this objective. Alright, see these guys moving through, taking some casualties here and there, which is fine. So this is the 902nd. If we can see where are they there. So they're moving over to here. So that should be quite good. I think they'll end up clearing this area out. Holtmans, there's a unit here from Holtmeyer. Some fire into there. Yeah, so these guys are getting bunched up a little bit here. Actually sending quite a few units through here, which is a little bit surprising. So, given some of our units should now be set up, I'm just going to send a whole bunch of artillery fire through here. See if we can hurt them. Moving, on call deployed. Resting. See if we can hurt them here. This battalion's not quite in place, this infantry one there, so we don't want to get stuck. And they look like they are being quite aggressive, they're still moving forward. But I think a fair bit of artillery fire should change that. There we go. So KG Gutman is pretty much mostly moved out and looks like they're almost ready to go. So you actually see it's starting to get into nightfall. So a little bit behind on this attack than what I wanted it to be. Why aren't you moving? You're not moving quick enough. Put you onto fastest actually, get you moving quicker. So you haven't moved out quick enough. Alright, that's cool. Some of these units starting to retreat. There's a fairly big self-propelled artillery battalion here. I'm not too worried about those. They're still going to hit from some of our longer range units. And some of these ones being held behind, which is fine. I'm happy with all of that. So I'm not worried about being overrun here, I'm just worried about being held up more than anything else. Which can be a bit of a pain. Right, I think we're just going to start getting these guys to move out, because I think by the time they do move out, 1721, this objective expires at 6. I think we're still going to have be able to hold this one by the time 6 o'clock comes around. So you're going to take these guys 40 minutes or so to start moving, so maybe we'll wait until 6:30, 5:30 I should say, before we issue the order. We're going to get these guys to move across here, and then we're actually going to tack straight down here Maybe even push them up to here, to this objective. Depends on how this attack goes. I mean, it is 2 full regiments, so it should be more than enough to take this one. So maybe we actually push these guys across the river and up to these heights up here, because that's going to then open up this road once we, for tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. There we go, these guys are starting to move, which is good. Units here which are retreating, that's fine, works out well. Alrighty, we're going to set up a move order for these guys. We're going to move these guys straight across the river, because they can, like we mentioned before, they can move on their own. And then I think from there we set up an attack order, I think is probably the best way to go. Set up an attack order for these heights here. Minimum rest, artillery direct support, max aggro, yes, and everything else is going to be fine. Cool. Still also these units here which are causing us a few problems. Okay, these guys are across. There's an anti-tank gun platoon. It's only got 1 gun, I'm not bothered by that. So, we're going to set up our attack for this infantry. I think we're going to set it up from this little ridgeline here. We're going to set up sort of behind here, just so they make sure these guys here won't have any line of sight on us. So what we're going to do is we're going to set one up here. First point there, second point right in the center of town here. We're going to go for secure crossing. We're going to max aggro, max rate of fire. Actually go for fastest. So we want to get over and in there ASAP. It's going to use some generate for some fatigue, but that's okay. I think, yeah, so pull this back here. It means that we shouldn't, because I'm behind the hill, so they shouldn't have any line of sight on us there. And these guys are pretty much, looks like I haven't fought for a while. So we'll leave those guys a little bit longer, and then see how things go there. 902nd is slowly still moving into here, but they're primarily here, and they've driven off some units in this area, so a few destroyed units here and there. So it's okay. All good. Yes, this is all going okay, which is nice. Koshenhausen still moving. Same with Gutmann. Yeah, so being a little bit delayed since they've still got some fighting coming here. We're actually going to hit the core HQ, because I suspect that's probably their on-map boss, which is a little bit surprising that they've actually moved it this far forward. I'm not sure if doing their actually HQ on-map boss does any damage to them, like if it reduces their effectiveness. No, I'm not really quite sure, but it may do, so we'll do that anyway. Okay, see the game sort of paused here because it is at 6 o'clock, so I think there's a couple of times through the day it sort of pauses and like recalculates a bunch of stuff. You should see now here, this objective's gone. So if we jump into our objectives, you see these little bars here. They're actually now sort of greyed out because they're not active anymore, and we've pretty much got most of them. So we've actually got, you know, almost 5 points from these 3 ones, these 3 towns that we held. So that one there, Hossingen, which was here, that objective's now gone, and then here as well, down in Constam. So that's good. Yep, that's all good. So these are actually this one destroy the enemy as well. So we've got 3.4 points out of 25. So we haven't done a huge amount of damage, but you know, reasonable amount so far. Alrighty, so how are we going over here with this one? So it looks like we've pushed these guys out, yeah. So we pushed this base out, which is good, and this engineer company as well. So we're pretty much almost into the town. So what we're going to do now is actually, these guys are fairly well rested, so what we're actually going to do is start moving you. Given there's no objective there, we don't need you anymore. We're going to move you into the center of town here. Minimum, put it on attacks, yes. We'll go quickest route. Yeah, maybe, no, we'll go for avoidance to make sure they take the back roads. Even if it takes a bit longer, I think I'm okay with that. We'll see how if they rest too much. Keep an eye on that though, they may not. We'll leave it on minimum though, because it means that at some point through the night they should still start moving. May need to have to change some of these movement settings to no rest to make sure they actually do keep moving. Because we're a little bit behind schedule. It's 6 PM and we're not really across the river yet in like force enough. But I think by the end of the night we probably still should be. We've now taken both of these objectives, which is good to see. So we've got one here and one here. They're only minor objectives, but you know, any points we can get extra is good. The wind meter down here is still sort of a marginal victory or so. So we're doing okay. So these guys are just start moving here. This force is still moving through, which is good. I think I'm going to leave these guys here for the moment. As I mentioned, we'll move these guys down here during the night. Even if we do need a second battalion, infantry battalion, to take this one, we can then send these guys in then. Yep, that's all good. Good. How's our command going? Still on 28, which is good to see. There we go. So these guys are finally getting into position. Finally. Into place. I think it's best to leave the infantry battalion here because we don't want to put our armour and stuff up here because we'll have a repeat of what happened last night. It allows the enemy to get in too close. Then they can use their anti-tank weapons to actually hit us in the dead of night, which is not what we want. So we'll leave our infantry on guard duties there. Rightio, so KG Koshenhausen looks like it's not too far away from being in position. KG Gutmann's a little bit behind still, but they shouldn't be too far away. This force is starting to move out, the infantry battalion, so that's good. So it will be some night attacks, guys, which is not ideal, but it's just what we have to do. So lesson learned a little bit there. We got a little bit too delayed in this area, and allowed them to delay us a little bit too long. But that's life. That's the way things go. We've made some good progress, though. I think, guys. I think we're doing fairly well. So you notice I just moved the objective just to cover this objective, move the marker just to cover this objective, and also took attacks off because you can actually see they've mounted some attacks out this way, which is good. But there's not really any units out here, and we've actually got a battalion here to cover this this bank of the river. So I want to get these guys over this objective and just to make sure that no units can come down from here. So that's why I've done that. KG Kunku is starting to move. Some of the units still resting, but that should be okay. So the 26th is here. 39th is moving, 39th Regiment is moving forward, which is good. Most of our artillery is forward now, which is pleasing to see. These guys are resting. I'm not really quite sure why. I'm actually going to switch them back to no resting because there's no real need for them to do that. I'm not sure why I didn't move you forward. I'm actually going to do that now. Move you down to here, put on minimum rest, fastest, quickest, and most of the other artillery units are all good. Some here may move those forward a bit later, and these guys have still got a fair bit of range, but we'll move you forward just in case. Mouse flickering. Alrighty, so that's one there, and the other one here. So double checking our command capacity 29, so we've only got 7 left, which is good, but I mean pretty much all of our reinforcements are here. There's only a couple on day 4, some units here, some paratroop units down here. So we're pretty much good. I don't think we really need to command it, don't really need to break it down too much smaller than what we've done. We're commanding most of the battalions separately, which is good. Right, so these guys are now here, which is awesome. They've reached, and just in time for this battalion to come through. So we may need to push these guys down further a little bit. We'll see how that goes, because obviously visibility is not amazing at the moment, but we'll see what happens there. I think what we're going to do now, actually, these guys are probably rested enough. I think only the HQ is the really fatigued one. Sort of overall, they're on low fatigue. So I'm just going to start moving, get a pause the game, actually move these guys down into the town again. Or as well, I should say. Push these guys forward like that, and we'll just go quickest route. Because it doesn't look like there's too much here at the moment that we can see. I would have thought we'd probably be able to see them by now. Given we've got visibility here and also here. Even though it's a little bit darker. We should be able to see. Well, it is heavy fog, so visibility is down to 1,000 meters, which is really quite small. So anyway, it's interesting. Still some fighting happening here and there. Some units here. Not too worried about that. Recon troop. It's a fairly strong force with 18 armored fighting vehicles and 22 non. But I think that's going to be okay. Not too worried about that. So the M3A1 half tracks and some M8 light tanks. Or scout cars, I should say, not light tanks, are they? Cool, cool. Alrighty, so that's all good. So a whole bunch more artillery here. Still got a decent amount of ammo for most of them. Like some of these bigger ones look like they haven't been used at all, actually, so I probably should have used those earlier. I see this one here as well. This one. So that's good. It shows we've got a fair bit of ammo there if we need it. KG Kunku is moving out, which is good. It's a fairly strong force, actually. For a recon force, it's got 3 sort of dedicated artillery support units, and then a Panzer, or the Jagdpanzer unit there as well as its like bicycle troops. So it is really quite a strong force. So I think it's going to be a very good unit to actually place up here on this ridge. Because we can actually, once we actually get into the attack on Bastogne, we actually use them to attack, really bring them around and actually attack from the rear. which would be a good thing to do, so that would be good to see. Still some of these little infantry companies here, I'm not too bothered by those, just little pesky ones. There is some self-propelled artillery here, but they're really quite small, not bothered by those. This unit's also up here, which is awesome, good to see, it's a really good position for them. This attack is finally moving in. KG Koshenhausen's not quite moving yet, but they're on resting, damn it. There we go, no rest. No rest, make sure they move. And KG Gutman, no rest for you. Make sure they move, and same with you guys, no rest. So I really want to get across this river by, you know, by the end of the night. And I mean, it's only, what, 9 PM now? So I think we should still have enough time to rest these guys up, and then be able to keep pushing through. A couple of units here and there, I'm not too bothered by most of these though, I don't think they're too strong. I'm going to use some artillery just here on this little engineer unit that we can see. Just some artillery coming in there. Task Force Harper. So there's a little battalion there. So we hit Task Force Harbour, take off avoid friendlies, and same there. So this is a armoured infantry, so it's got some M3A1s, half tracks. Yeah, so we're going to be fine. Even if they retreat back through this way, we've got these units through here. Actually got the tank unit, which is perfectly placed on this left-hand side to cover this road. And then we're pushing through this battalion as well. So we're going to take this one. It's just, you know, can take a little time, but I'm not bothered by that at all. Now taking this town, which is good. We've got both objectives secured. We've got both battalions in the town. We've got KG Kunkel moving forward. This attack is finally coming in. Looks like there's pretty much nothing in this area, which is really a bit surprising. We've actually taken the objective already. There's a base here. Task Force Rose HQ, a battalion, and there's a regimental base there. So that's going to hurt their supplies because it's probably going to be destroyed. I doubt it's going to be able to escape because we've got both the roads covered now. So that's really gone in quite well. This infantry platoon is moving. They've stopped for the moment. They're not resting though, so that's okay. They could just be reorganising. And they're going to come up here and secure these heights, which will be quite a good spot for us to have, I think, because that should hopefully mean most of this road's clear. And then we can push through Holt Mine, probably one of these other regiments, Gutman or Koshenhausen, through to the highway tomorrow. So on day 3, I want to have this highway, probably a fair chunk of this highway secure by the end of day 3, because that's going to give us day 4, day 5, and then all of day 6. So basically 3 days to then move down and take Bastogne. So I'm not sure if that's going to be quite quick enough, guys. It's all seeming quite comfortable at the moment, which is usually a bit of a danger. So maybe the Allied reinforcements are going to come a bit quicker than what I suspect, which means we could be in for a fight sort of on the outskirts of Bastogne, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, this is going to be fine. This is going to fall fairly soon during the night, which is good. Kunkel is resting. No, yes, resting. That's fine. Got them on minimum rest, so they won't rest for the entire night, just for a few hours. Just to recover some fatigue, and then they'll move out and they'll be in position by morning. On day 3 as well, I want to have them in position by the end of day 3. And I'll probably use an infantry battalion, one of these ones. I'm not really quite sure which one yet, to actually do that. So I'm going to give these guys rest orders now, to make sure they get a lot of rest during the night. There we go. Make sure they're fully rested, because we'll probably leave one here to cover both objectives, and we'll push the infantry out first along here, and then we'll push KG Kunkel out with them as well. Which is good, and once that's done, once we've secured this one, we're going to push through probably the 902nd and the 901st, both of them, push them through to this highway. And we'll get all of this highway area secured along this ridge line here, and this little ridge here. And if we can do that by the end of the day, I'll probably send some units up here on this ridge. I think we're going to be in very, very good position. Because as you can see, there's this sort of road, this rail line runs along the bridge, and Bastogne sort of sits along a ridge as well. So we'll be attacking up a ridge or uphill from these objectives. So you have to keep that in mind as well. It's going to add a bit of difficulty. Some units coming in here. I'm not too bothered by these. These ones, there's actually a tank platoon there. Some M4 Shermans, a bunch of M4s. Given we've got armoured units, though, I'm not too worried by any of that. They're completely surrounded, so they're gonna, at one point, sometime or another, they're going to be destroyed. Even if we take some losses, so we lost another Panther. This is the one that we lost 4 Panthers on last night. Even if we take some losses, we're gonna destroy these units. So I'm not worried about changing these settings. I'm just going to leave these guys to do what they want there. Just fine. Why are you guys not moving? Are you resting? So you may be. I know, still moving. Just a little bit late. Fairly high on fatigue, so I have to keep an eye on that. 66%, which is quite a lot. Looks like they're ready now. Looks like they've got their movement orders for here. So once we get them set up here, I'm not too bothered by the fatigue though. Because they're probably going to sit here for most of tomorrow, so they can rest all day. So I'm not bothered by wearing them out. Yeah, so these units are going to be destroyed, which is good. Holtmeyer is pretty much rested, so I think we'll just leave them there for the moment, and then we can just push them through straight down the road. See how that goes. I'm actually going to move the 2nd Panzer Division across as well. Just make sure our units don't get too strung out. I'm just go fastest, quickest, and everything else should be all good. Cool, cool. Haven't quite secured this objective yet, which is a bit late. Yeah, because it does end on day 3 at 6 PM, so you're not going to get a whole lot of 5-point occupation, but probably going to get half of it, I suspect. But we should get the completion ones for both bridges, so that could probably shows you a little bit behind schedule. So I have to keep that in mind tomorrow. We have to push quite hard tomorrow to make sure we really sort of do push forward. I'm actually hit these units with some artillery. So use some of our ones we haven't used much before. So avoid off. So as I mentioned before, artillery doesn't always do a whole lot to tanks, but some of their heavy artillery does. So these heavy batteries, they actually can still hit tanks. Just depends. So we hit probably a bunch of artillery on this position, and see if we can get them to move, start retreating and stuff. Because these are fairly strong companies, you can see. It's 11 tanks, it's got 113 anti-personnel and 235 anti-armor. So it is really quite a strong position. So if we dislodge them with some artillery, that would be very beneficial for us. So this unit's taking quite a few casualties from this unit, but that's okay. Actually hit just a couple of units of artillery here. Anyway, this battalion's moving out, which is good, and they're consolidating this area here, which is good, so good, good, good. So we've already got this objective secured, getting some points here, which is nice to see already. 1st Battalion, 78th Regiment is moving out. Actually no, that's the one we already had. 1st Battalion, 77th Regiment's moving out, they're resting at the moment. But we want a minimum rest, so they don't rest for too long. Because we want to get them here and get this objective secured. Because it's not secured yet, because there's probably still a couple of units here, so that's why it's not secured, but that's okay. So everyone's pretty much resting for the moment. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to bump up the speed a bit. It's pretty much time to end the episode anyway, 63 minutes on the clock. So what I might do is just run it through until maybe 4 or so AM, which shouldn't take too long on the fastest speed. And then we'll end the episode there, and we'll come back around tomorrow and get another day's playthrough. See these units being engaged here. Lost another Panther there, which is a pain. So this little company is definitely causing us problems. They've lost a tank now as well. They've gone down to 10. They had 14 all up, didn't they? So they lost 4, maybe even it was 15. 4 or so tanks. So like I said, they're going to go eventually, so it's going to maybe take a little bit of time. Hopefully we don't lose too many. Anyway, I'll just let our guys do their thing there. These guys are almost in position, which is good. They've come across an anti-tank platoon's got one gun though, so it's not a threat. These guys are almost in position on this hill here, which is really quite good to see. Yeah, we'll just let these guys go. So you actually see the cohesion on this one looks like it's very low. Lower their cohesion get, lower their morale is going to get, and lower their morale gets, the more likely they are to break and retreat. Once they retreat and start moving off their position, they're gone. So still taking some losses here, but that's life. Just have sort of run with it. I don't really want to play with the orders yet at this sort of late point, because we do have the objective secured. So they're causing us some losses, but I think it's, you know, in time they're just going to get destroyed there. This is all fine there. Everything else is fine. So I think we've made fairly good progress. Like we've basically secured my objective for day 2 was to get over the other side of the river and secure a bridgehead, which we've done at both main points here and then especially down here at the bottom. So that's quite good. So this guy's being engaged here. Hey guys, what I think I might do, the game's slowing down a little bit now, given that we're sort of quite a bit going on. Lost another tank here there, so they're going to go soon. I think what I'll do, I'll end the episode here, guys. And what I'll do, actually run off camera. I'll just run through until like daybreak. Not a whole lot's going to happen. Like, you already know all the movements and stuff. There's not going to be some big massive attack you're going to miss out on. It's pretty much just going to be units resting and stuff through the night. So I think I'll do that, guys. I think I'll pause the episode here, and we'll come back to it at the start of day 3, or the earliest hours of day 3, I should say. So I hope you've all enjoyed today's episode. Hope you enjoyed this series. Let me know your feedback, your thoughts on the game, and all that kind of stuff. That would be really good. And yeah, that would be good. Hope you all had a wonderful day, and I'll see you all for the next episode.